Today I'll be talking to you about bravery. You can be brave by going on a scary roller coaster or climbing a mountain. But is that all that people have done or can do to be brave? Today I will tell you some other ways that you can be brave. Bravery means that you are bold and courageous. Rosa Parks is a brave figure to me because she was brave enough to stand up and say that she wasn't going to get up from her seat in the bus because the Caucasian section of the bus was full and a Caucasian wanted to sit in her seat. I also admire her because she stood up, even though she knew that she might go to jail. Now this next part is truly amazing. On the day of her trial, African Americans didn't go on the buses to support her, and since most of the buses' profits came from the African Americans, the buses didn't get a lot of money. After her trial, she got fined $14, but the African Americans still stayed off the buses until the laws of the African Americans and the Caucasians being separated was illegal. Harriet Tubman is another brave figure to me because she was a slave and escaped. But she was brave enough to come back more than 13 times and rescue more than 70 slaves. She chose to do this rather than living a free life. She did this so many times, even though she knew that she might get caught and punished. My last example of bravery is standing up to bullying. It takes someone brave to stand up to a bully, because if your friends were bullying someone, you might not want to stand up to them because you don't want them to stop playing with you or stop being friends with you. It also takes someone brave to stand up to a bully because you don't want the person who is being a bully to start bullying you. We all have to be brave at some point in our life, but how and when you choose to be brave is what makes you stand out and important. These two people were both bold and courageous. So the next time you have to be brave, remember how these two people were scared, but they overcame their fears to do the right thing. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Did you know that banging your head against the wall uses 150 calories per hour? Or that some frogs can be frozen solid, thawed, and still live? Hi, I'm Joanne Armstrong, and today I'd like to tell you some fun facts. First, I'll tell you some facts about food. If you yelled for 8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, you would have produced enough energy to heat 1 cup of coffee. Honey is the only food that doesn't rot. Another fun food fact is if you drop a raisin in a glass of Sprite, it will float up and down forever because of carbon dioxide bubbles. Next, I have some fun facts about animals. An ant can lift 50 times its own weight, pull 30 times its own weight, and will always fall over to the right side when intoxicated, like from eating rotten fruit. Cows can walk upstairs, but not down. Did you know that elephants are the only mammals that can't jump? Or that starfish don't have brains? I'll bet you didn't know that all polar bears are left-handed. Here's a weird one. A duck's quack doesn't echo, and no one knows why. Also, ostriches' brains are so tiny that their eyes are actually bigger. Porcupines float in water, many hamsters blink one eye at a time, and finally, giraffes can clean their ears with their 21-inch-long tongue. Here's some fun facts about humans. The tongue is the strongest muscle in your body in proportion to its size, and every time you lick a stamp, you consume 1/10 of a calorie. Another strong muscle is the heart. Your heart is so strong, it can pump your blood 30 feet. The average person falls asleep in 7 minutes, and only one person in 2 billion will live to be 116 or older. Can you believe that babies are born without kneecaps? They don't appear until the child is about 2 to 6 years old. Here's some interesting facts about words. The sentence, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," uses every letter in the alphabet. It's a great sentence to know when you're practicing typing. The only 15-letter word that can be spelt without repeating a letter is uncopyrightable, and stewardesses is the longest word that's typed properly with only the left hand. No word in the English language rhymes with month, orange, silver, or purple, and I am is the short consecutive numbers, you would have to go up to 1,000 before you reach the letter A. Men can read smaller print than women, but women can hear better than men. The dot on the I is called a tittle. Now I have a few random facts. Have you ever heard someone say, "Be back in a jiffy"? Well, a jiffy is an actual amount of time. It's 1/100th of a second. The head picture on a coin weighs more than the tails. The most common name in the world is Mohammed, and intelligent people have more zinc and copper in their hair. The famous artist Leonardo da Vinci was so talented he could write with one hand and draw with the other at the same time. Most lipstick contains fish scales, and most makeup contains bat poop. Donald Duck comics were banned from Finland because Donald Duck doesn't wear any pants. Finally, one last fact. 111,111,111 times 111,111,111 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope you learned something new today.
With so many different street names, it's hard to tell and know exactly what you're doing. Good morning, West Langley. Today I'm going to talk to you about drugs and their effects. Marijuana is the most common drug used mostly by teenagers nowadays. Marijuana is also known as reefer, pot, kush, hash, weed, and Mary Jane. Kids think it's cool to do drugs, but they don't think about the consequences that come along with it. They see their friends do it and think it's so cool because they make it sound fun by saying things like sweat, which means smoke weed every day. So with that, they want to try it. Big mistake they made. Even if you try something just once, you can get addicted very quickly. You'll crave it day and night. You won't be able to control it. You'll realize that you shouldn't have done it that first time. But you'll be so desperate for the drug that that thought will become almost worthless because your brain will tell you that quitting doesn't matter. Scary thing to think about. You don't want to end up like that, and it's sad people do, so think about it before anything. The effects of drugs are not harmless. It's not all just fun and games, and whether you're under peer pressure or not, be strong enough and smart enough to say no. Some of the more common drugs are shrooms, cocaine, and ecstasy. These aren't used as much as weed, but they're still being consumed. A lot of people tend to have what they call a bad trip, which is the aftertake or effect once they've taken the drug. But the problem is that you can't control anything about it, and whether you like it or not, it can become a bad addiction. Some drugs can be snorted, some can be smoked, and some can be injected. Now, heroin is a highly addictive drug, and it's used by all three sources, injecting, snorting, and smoking. But it's most commonly used by injection. This drug enters your brain and makes it almost instantly addictive. You start to depend on it, and every time you consume it, you want more. It's filled with toxic ingredients, which is one reason why heroin provides the risk of infection, overdose, and death. Some additives in this drug are not able to dissolve in the bloodstream, which can cause a blood clot that can travel to the heart, liver, lungs, or brain, which can be instantly fatal. Regular use of heroin destroys the body. You can also get HIV from the use of needles. Bottom line for this is that it's an easy high, but one that can be instantly fatal. The extremely high risk of addiction should really make you think before ever giving it a try. One try can lead to a lifetime of chasing a high that will ruin your body and life. Cocaine is also known as blow, bump, seed, candy, and snow. Long story short, it can quickly cause deep depression and cardiac arrest. Ecstasy is known as E, X, Atom, Eve, Clarity, Hug, and more. Meth can be said for ice, crank, crystal, speed, and tea. There's an uncountable amount of different names for different drugs, and in a way, it can make them even more scary. So in my opinion, drugs are completely stupid, and I wish that they didn't exist. I also think that the people who are addicted do have a fault because they were dumb enough to try it in the first place, whether it was their intention to get addicted or not. But like I said, that thought becomes completely irrelevant because nothing else will matter other than chasing a high it seems that you won't be able to get. To me, these are some pretty serious and scary issues and consequences, and I really hope this makes you think, because I wouldn't want anyone to end up in that kind of placement. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you enjoyed it.
When the word here is mentioned, the first thought that some people have is a person with powers. Others think of a person who's genuinely good. And some think of everyday heroes like firemen or policemen. And sometimes there are complicated heroes that do bad things, but they do them because the greatest outcome is good. Hi, I'm Dan Stern. I am here today to find out what a hero really is. A hero is a person who in one's eye is extraordinary. This may be a relative, a fictional character, or everyday heroes that help people. To kids, their heroes can be Superman or Spider-Man. In many superhero movies, the hero always draws the line and says, "I will not cross this line." And the hero knows that once he steps over the line, he is no longer a hero anymore. He's become the villain he's been fighting. Now, the word hero is tough to define. To be able to define the word, you truly have to have experiences in your life where someone came to help you in some way. Whether it was saving you in a dangerous situation, or as simple as comforting you when you had a bad dream. Heroes have to be defined carefully, because if you say someone's a hero, you must truly know that that person is actually a hero. I mean, it is different if someone has saved your life, then of course they're heroes. But I'm talking about a different type of hero. I'm talking about the type of heroes that has done something great, like flying to the moon, or winning a gold medal. They become a hero to many people, a role model. Hero at all. What happens if a villain was secretly hidden inside a hero's body? Would people still believe in that hero? Take Lance Armstrong, for example. Lance Armstrong was held up as this big hero because of overcoming cancer and winning the Tour de France. Everybody looked up to Lance and thought, "I want to be just like him." But then rumors of doping started, and ever since then, there's always been a sliver of doubt in their minds. Did he do it fairly? Now, once there's proof that Lance had cheated, many people stopped believing in him. Some people, though, still held him up as this great leader because of overcoming cancer. Even once they've proved he had cheated, he still lied about it. He finally admits to it now, proving that he kind of wasn't a hero at all. My point here is not to judge a person by the outside. The inside is what counts. Benjamin Disraeli wrote, "The legacy of heroes is the memory of a great name and the inheritance of a great example." Lance may have done some great things, but because he cheated, history will not remember him as a hero. In closing, heroes aren't just people who have power. Sometimes they're just everyday people that have done extraordinary things to help others. Lance's story reminds us that we have to take care of who we call heroes. Thank you.
With you. It's conversations like these that make people stressed, upset, and have low self-esteem. Hi, I'm Emily, and I'd like to inform you a bit more about cyberbullying. Nearly 43% of kids get cyberbullied. That is 12 people just in my class being cyberbullied. Every day, 10,000 people get cyberbullied. And in the past year, cyberbullying has become the third most common type of bullying. So why is it ignored? Ask yourself this question and close your eyes. Raise your hand if you've ever been cyberbullied. Now open your eyes. If you raise your hand, think of the feeling. That's the feeling that over half of high school students just in BC get every day. I believe every living, breathing human, white, black, Asian, tall, thick, thin, is worthy of life. The problem is, anyone can hide behind a screen and say whatever they want, even if they don't mean it. But even if they don't mean it, those words stick to the other person on the other side of the screen forever. It's just as easy for someone to become broken as it was for the person positive. In that very second, that person might feel like the world's falling apart and all the names that they give them called. It's like being trapped in a box where all you can hear is the whispers of the names to be called, and there's no people like, or no matter how loud you scream, no one can hear you. Why would anyone want to make another feel this way? It's beyond my thoughts, but still doesn't mean it should be ignored. Just to think someone's life could be taken from the use of the words that have been said, it's so sad. If these statistics and thoughts can bring you closer to dangers and upsetting feelings that person has, I don't know what will. But I do ask 3 things of my peers today. 1, don't be anybody but yourself. There's over 7 billion people in this world, and no one's expected to be a certain way. 2, no matter how harsh names are being called, or strong they may be, your life's worth living, so give up or give in. 3, know that you're not alone, even when it feels like it. There are parents, teachers, counselors, and friends that are always here for you. The ultimate meaning of life is to be happy, and that's to be able to